And by the way, you're gonna have to like unmute because I'm not gonna see you. Okay. So I'm just gonna walk through it. Cool. All right, this was your practice data set. Here are the values, right? Year, unit ID, which is essentially an institution ID, the name of the college. These are all Georgia colleges. Try to keep it local, right? The sector of the institution. Do y'all know what sector means in higher education? I can't hear you, Saba.
Your screen is not, what I'm seeing does not have any of those field names on it. I don't know, is everybody else seeing something? Oh, that's because I'm looking at my own Tableau. Sorry.
Okay, Kara.
His wasn't though. Don't let him make.
Saiba, you were saying something about the sector. I can't hear you. Sorry. Are your audio off? Okay. I didn't mute you, Saiba. I just muted the hecklers. Does anybody know what sector means?
Is that public and private?
Kind of. Partially. So in level is 4-year, 2-year, less than 2-year, right? University, community college, that sort of thing. Control is public and private. When you combine them to be public 4-year, private 2-year, public 2-year, right? That's what we call sector. So you're actually getting, if you click on the values tab down here at the bottom, you'll notice that sector of institution value 1 is public 4-year, okay? So it's a combination of control and level. Make sense? Okay, cool. Yeah, Saiba, yes, close. Private or public is the control of the institution. If it's a publicly controlled institution or privately controlled institution, otherwise it's it has to have the level in there as well. Okay, so again, exploring our data is important. If you didn't find that values tab, now you know, right? Coming back to the data, latitude and longitude. You may have not known that we had that in our publicly available data sets. It's kind of cool. Total number of undergraduates within the financial aid cohort, number that were awarded federal, state, local, or institutional or other sources of grant aid, total amount of that aid, grant scholarship aid, and then number of students that were awarded Pell Grants, the total amount of Pell Grants awarded to those students, the number of students who were awarded loans, and the total amount of federal student loans that were awarded to those students, okay? So the first thing I told you to do was to calculate the average amount of Pell Grant aid awarded to undergraduates. Y'all, how do we do that? How do we calculate the average?
Are you talking about in Excel?
Choose your own adventure, Jody.
That seems like too easy of a question, so I'm gonna pass.
Nope.
You just highlight all the numbers and do the little thing at the end that lets you do average. That was very helpful.
An
I'm
average
muting myself.
An average amount of Pell Grants, right, awarded to undergrads is essentially the total amount of Pell Grant aid awarded to the number of students that got Pell Grants to begin with, right? So total amount of aid divided by number of students who got the aid. That's 7 million divided by 1,500 for Abraham or ABAC, Abraham Baldwin. There you go. Average amount of Pell Grants, 4,669. Double click it, calculates it for everybody, right? Good stuff. Did y'all do this? Kara, you look confused.
Yeah, because I apparently downloaded not this data set.
Did you download this data set?
I didn't do this assignment at all.
Don't tell your professor.
What? How did I? No, I did a completely different.
Is this data set
I
alien
did
to
the thing about
everybody?
adverse health.
Huh?
The adverse health.
That's one. That was the apply. This is the
Yikes.
practice.
I'm late with this assignment.
All those in favor of Kara getting kicked out, say aye. All opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Goodbye. I'm joking. I'm not doing that, y'all. Seriously. Okay. So aside from Kara's astonishment, average Pell Grant aid for the institution for students who receive Pell Grants, right? The average amount awarded is right here, right? That's one way to do it. One thing I want you to learn from this class, if you haven't already learned it from any other class, is in this world of data, there's always multiple ways to do things. Okay. That's one. Okay. Let's get back over. So also calculate the average amount of loans awarded to undergraduates, right? Average loans. Anybody want to tell me how to do this? Nobody?
It's
hit.
just,
Go ahead, Kara.
it's just the same as the other one. You're gonna do the loans divided by the students.
Total amount of loans divided by total number of students who were awarded loans. There you go, right? Double click, boom, everything. Oh, also, remember there's multiple years of data in here. So you're going to see ABAC 3 times. You're going to see Georgia Tech 3 times, right? Because we got 2019-20, 2018-19, and 2017-18. Everybody good? All right, let's go ahead and save this data. I think those are the only calculations I told you to do in this one. We shall just close it out. Sorry, back. And connect back to it. Okay, here we go. Now we're in Tableau. First thing you do is you grab the sheet you want and you just drag it over, or you double click it and then you come down here to sheet 1. So first thing I want you to do, or that you should have done, is to create a vertical bar chart showing the average amount of Pell Grant aid for one institution and a 3-year trend. Okay. So first thing you need to know is you're going to filter for one institution at a time. So we're going to take institution name and drag it to the filters. Which institution are we going to show? Anybody? Y'all cool with that?
Absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right, there we go. Boom, we filtered for one institution. And then, okay, now we got to bring over the average amount of Pell Grant aid, right? By year. And so we're looking at a bar chart. And so did I say horizontal or vertical?
Vertical.
Did I say vertical?
The assignment says vertical.
Yeah, you're right. Good deal. I'm just making sure, So for a vertical bar chart, oh yeah, this is the fun part, right? So right here, notice that if you can see it, I can barely see it, but the little hashtag, we used to call those a pound sign, hashtag is actually green, right? Which means that is considered a measure. And so what we're going to do is convert it to a discrete measure, and it's going to change blue. If you brought over year as a measure, notice how it basically counts everything. 2710, it just treats it as a continuous variable. And it says, oh, 2710, 2720, 28, all the way to 2018, 20, whatever. Don't do that. Convert it to a discrete measure and then bring it in, and notice how there's only the 3 values that we actually have in our data set, right? So how do we create a vertical bar chart? We can take our average Pell Grant, right? Average amount of Pell Grant awarded, and bring it over into the rows. And so the column being years means that the data is going to stack there. If the year was in the rows, we would create horizontal bars, right? So just move it back and forth. But there you go. Column years, average Pell Grant, boom there. 4, and we can show the filter over here. And it shows us Agnes Scott, right? We know we're filtering for Agnes Scott. If we wanted to keep changing things, we could do it. It would be meaningless because it's just summing averages at that point. That's why we only show one at a time. Make sense? Okay. All right. Now, if we did not calculate the average loan amount or average Pell Grant amount in Excel, we could create a calculated field. Just right click anywhere and just say create calculated field. We'll spell this one out, average loans. And all you have to do is type bracket, open bracket, and start typing it out, which is total amount of federal student loans, right? Awarded to undergraduate students. Put the divisor or the slant by open bracket total number of undergraduates, wherever it is, not that one, number of undergraduates, that's it. So NUMB, we gotta, you know what, it's easier sometimes to actually find it over here, awarded federal student loans, and just drag it in. So clean up a little bit, there you go. So total amount of federal student loans divided by the number of undergraduates awarded federal student loans. We're calling it average loans. There it is. And so now that we've got our bar chart, we're going to create a new sheet.
Can I ask a question?
Of course, that's why we're doing this. I
Okay,
want y'all
on
to
the
ask
left,
questions.
on the left-hand side where you have all your tables, when I uploaded mine, I don't see average loan and average Pell Grant. So where did that come from? What did I do wrong?
Remember, I calculated it in Excel
That's right.
before we brought it in.
Okay, screwed that up. Okay.
No, you didn't screw up. I was just showing y'all 2 different ways to do it.
No, I assure you I did because I did not do that. So when
No, you don't have to calculate it ahead of time. It's okay. There's more than one way to do this, and I was just showing y'all both ways. So if you do it ahead of time, then you know, you're good. Oops, I deleted it, right? Let's save that. And data, find your data sheet right here with the checkbox and hit refresh, and one of those is going away. There it goes. You see that? So it's like we never did it, Jody. It's okay. 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 All right. So now we are creating a scatter plot showing average Pell Grant aid on the x-axis and average loan amount on the y-axis by institution for 1 year. Okay. 1 year. Again, because we do multiple years and it's just gonna sum it all. It's gonna be really big numbers, right? So this is XY axis, right? Pretty simple stuff, maybe. Pell Grant on the x-axis, average Pell Grant, right? On the rows, average loans on the columns, and it automatically recognizes this as a scatter plot, right? So here it is. Now it's just showing us one mark or one value here, and it's the sum of everything, right? Remember I told you that we want it by institution and for 1 year, so we're just going to again filter. Actually, we don't have to do that at all. We can go back to sheet 1. Well, no, I'm sorry, we do have all 3 years here. So We'll bring this in and just filter for the most recent year. There we go. That's a little bit more manageable, right? And now this is the important part. We want to show it by institution, right? So you drag institution to the detail. We want the detailed data to show by institution. And there it is. All institutions. So where is Agnes Scott? Do y'all know? Anybody want to guess? Anybody remember what the values were? It's okay. If you want to find them. $4975, $6501. Somewhere in here. It's in there. But 4905, 6501. Basically, we got a lot of dots here. Can anybody find Agnes Scott in that? Not really. Maybe if we color code by institution and we make everybody by holding shift and clicking, let's make everybody gray, except for Agnes Scott. Sound good? There she is. Nifty, huh? And if we want to fill in our bubble, we just call it a circle, right? And there it stands out a little bit easier. I don't really like that shade of purple. So we can double click it and make it a little bit more vibrant. Y'all are good with that? You see that? That looks a little bit more Agnes Scott-like. I have the actual color pattern, but we'll just call it that one for now. And what's your other color scheme? Do you remember? Is it yellowish? What is it? Gray, yellow?
Like gold or yellow, like a dandelion yellowish.
Dandelion
And then
yellow.
white.
We can just do everybody again. Call it that. See if that works. Look at that. Boom, right? Now, that's not what I told you to do, right? What I told you to do was to color code the scatter plot by public and private institutions, right? Sector, right? Purple for private and gray for public. So remember our sector variable, sector of institution over here. We're going to drag that to the color scheme or color card, whatever you want to call it. And actually, before we do that again, remember it's continuous, so it's going to apply a continuous field of color. Let's convert this to a discrete measure. So it's just two values. Now we have blue and orange. Not what we wanted. What is sector 1? Anybody remember?
Is that the public one?
I think
Public
so.
foyer?
Yeah, I think so. Let's just verify, but yeah, I think so. Public, yep, 1, private 2, right? Okay. So 1 is gray and 2 is purple. Now, what does 1 and 2 mean, right? Right? If you had this on a dashboard, all you have to do is right click sector and go to convert to dimension. Sorry, did y'all see me do that? I had to find it. Convert to dimension. And then aliases. You can only do aliases for dimensional attributes. A continuous, even though it's a measure, you still can't really do aliases on measures because it thinks that there's probably too many values. So you have to create it to discrete, change it to discrete, which means it has barriers, right? Blocks around it. It's like 1, 2, 3, not 1.2, 1.3, and then convert to a dimension to say you know, this is the same thing as red hair, blonde hair, brown hair, whatever. And then all you have to do is change the alias to public, 4-year, and private, 4-year, right? And there it comes. Sorry, I had to bring it back over because once it's on the sheet, it doesn't necessarily change when you do updates. So I had to bring it back over, but again, pretty simple to get it back.
Can you show us how to do an average if we did not do it in Excel?
Yeah, sure. I just did a little bit ago.
I
So
know,
yeah, now I'll do it again. So create calculated field.
field.
Call it what
Okay.
it is, average something, right? And then we're gonna we'll do the Pell Grant again. So open bracket, that's kind of like you're talking about a field when you do an open bracket. You can say number of undergraduate students awarded Pell Grants, right? And divide that, or make that the divisor, right? And bring in total amount of Pell Grant aid awarded in front of that divisor. And that's what it was. I had two. Sorry. There you go. Now everything's in orange. The calculation is valid. So we're dividing the amount by the number of students. Joe, do you see that? And you hit OK. And now
Okay,
now
thank
we have
you.
average something. Cool.
Thank you.
No problem. Now, this is what we were supposed to do, right? Nothing too fancy. You're supposed to save it. This is the fun part. Actually, no, I'll save it to a different one. Did everybody save it to Tableau Public okay? Besides Kara? No, you didn't, Kara.
I actually did this assignment. Now that you're doing it, I remember,
Okay.
but I
sure.
did it real wrong.
Cool. Do I know my password? Yes. Okay. So while that's loading, any questions about any of that? Was this a difficult practice task? Does this help you think through it a little bit more?
Yes.
Yeah, when I was doing when I saw step 2, calculate the average Pell Grant, and this is just because I didn't spend enough time digging through the data, I think. I just did the average of the Pell Grant field within Tableau.
Same.
You didn't do it. You didn't calculate the average amount of Pell Grants for each institution. You averaged it for all institutions.
Ish.
Ish.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I should have realized I did it wrong when my average Pell Grant was like 18 million or 18,000 per student. Like,
That'll
yeah.
do it.
I wouldn't have. Is that not how much Pell Grants are? I wouldn't have known.
What is
It was
the maximum amount of Pell Grants awarded to a student in a given year right now, Jody?
I should know that because I have a kid in college. I'm gonna say 4,000, but I don't think that's right.
No, it's about 7,000.
Okay. Well, I should probably look into it.
6,895.
Okay.
Again, that's a good data check, right? That's a good validation check. That's one reason I had y'all do Pell. All right, so we're here, we're saved, right? Are you gonna get 100 points for this, or however many 5 points, whatever I gave you? Are you gonna get 100 points for this? Does this meet all the criteria? Why?
You asked us to put a trend line on it. Or no, am I making that up?
Color code, save.
Okay, well, I'm gonna mute.
All right, save the 2 worksheets. How many worksheets do y'all see here?
2.
Where?
Sheet 1 and sheet 2.
Where's sheet 2?
Behind sheet 1.
I don't see it.
What am I doing wrong?
I don't see, I mean, I don't know. Tell me. Y'all tell me.
There are two windows open right now, Jody, and what you're seeing is the window that's behind.
Oh,
browser.
Oh, sorry.
okay.
Ignore that. This is safe.
The
Where's
only,
she? Go
You have to
ahead.
go to settings, right? And show
Oh.
sheets.
God, thank you. So you can ignore my 500 comments every time I tried to save this to public, and I said, "This is saving, right? Dear Lord, let's not grade this assignment at all."
Jody, that's why I'm making sure we walk through every step. Because a lot of people struggle with this. Thank you, Lorraine and Ken. I heard y'all both saying it. So yeah, that's it. Look at that. Boom. 1 click or 2 clicks and it's there, right? So under the little settings gear icon. Now, should we nominate this for the viz of the day? Just joking. Okay,
And can I ask one more question?
for sure.
When you are saving, and sometimes you get that message about you have to extract your data,
You didn't use Tableau Public.
I clearly did not. So, okay.
It's okay.
I
No,
used
that's-
Tableau Viz, didn't I? Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. And yeah, you have to
Shoot.
extract your data to actually bring it in to publish. So yeah, that's typical. That's not a bad thing. That's not, I mean, I'm not counting off for any of that. That's just, I can tell the difference between Tableau Public and Tableau Premium type stuff because of that one right there. Now, what I've done, y'all, is I have published this and allowed access. So what I will do, I'm actually gonna not show it on my profile because I don't want my clients to think that, you know, that's my typical work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share this link with y'all in the chat. And you can go out there and download it, like the actual workbook. Jody, what?
I didn't say that out loud, did I?
I don't know. I saw you. I thought you were talking.
Sorry.
All right, there it is. You can actually go out there and view it, but you can also download it. Like you can actually click this little download thing here at the bottom and download the Tableau workbook. Okay, as a practice, right, on your practice. So again, y'all aren't going to break anything. This is not live data. This is iPads, post-secondary examples. So where did y'all struggle here?
The whole damn thing.
I have issues like, sorry.
No, you're good.
Even just like trying to figure out how to color code it took like an hour.
Gotcha. Yeah, so time out for a sec, y'all. I'm actually Friday, I'm heading up to our main campus, our big 15,000 student campus. I'm doing a Tableau workshop over the next 2 weeks. And the one after I did it last year, the one thing I'm taking out of the 3-hour workshop for week 1 that was there before is formatting. Because y'all, you can spend 5 hours formatting, okay? For the purpose of this class, and I would recommend maybe not every other class, but I'll let Wendy tell you what she expects. But don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Okay, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Do what I ask. And trust me, I'm not going to judge you on your color scheme, right? If you can't figure out that one part, we can easily talk through it, right? Is this
I also gave up on the averages. I just took like interpreted it completely wrong and then didn't actually like whatever it said the average was of the two I don't even know what it's called. I can only think of the word indicator because that's not this assignment. The two oh my god, variables. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
God, it's been a long day. Whatever it interpreted as the averages of those variables, I was like, okay, this is what he's getting because I don't know. I've never used this system. I don't know what this is. I got a lot better on the next assignment.
Good.
But that was because my I live with a data analyst. Yeah, like she does data stuff for like a living.
Okay.
And she's a data analyst for Atlantic Habitat, and she uses Power BI for the most part on a day-to-day basis. I was like, here's what my professor gave me as instructions, and I have to do it in Tableau. And watching her struggle made me feel a lot better.
Tell her to take my class. Ooh.
So yeah, it was
Yeah.
yeah.
So
you're,
how many-
you're definitely gonna hear me on when you ask about the complaints.
Yeah, that's
I'll be
okay.
here.
No, it's okay. I asked for it. How many points is this worth, y'all?
40?
10. Just 10, right? This is practice, right? Okay, let me show you something that I'm working on for a college right now. They've asked me to help them do a lot. So this is their color scheme, right? So I actually went out there and found their color scheme and put it together. Anybody ever graduate from college? Everybody. That's why I wanted to show you all this example. When you graduated from college, did they ask you to take a survey about your overall experience and how wonderful it was, right? This is Cecil College. It's a public community college in Northeast Maryland. And this is their exit survey. Trust me when I tell you, there's a lot of really pretty data visualizations out there that don't mean jack crap, right? This is giving it to the administration what they absolutely need to know. So one of the things that you learned about over this week and last week was really thinking through what we call pre-attentive attributes, right? Where your eyes go, right? How do we actually communicate important pieces of information quickly? So I asked, her name is Karen. I asked Karen, what's the most important thing that your people need to get out of this analysis? And she said, would a student recommend Cecil College, right? That's like saying, anybody ever fly on Delta? Couple of you, yeah. If you ever get on the phone with them, they ask you a 1-question survey. It's, would you hire the customer service representative you just spoke to if you owned a customer service agency? Basically, would you recommend them? You said no, do you? You would not recommend me as a customer service representative?
Yes, I said no. As a matter of fact, I said a good Christian, hell no.
You would not recommend me as a customer service person. That's okay. That's okay. I understand. But that's the most important question for them, right? Would the students that graduate recommend Cecil College? And here we go. Boom. We only have this question for 2 years. So that's that. The next most important thing, she actually came back and said, they always ask about the response rate, even though who the hell, I mean, we care, but do we really care? I mean, we got what we got, you can't force students to take it. And so I kind of made it smaller here. But she said all of these need to be grouped together because it's looking at overall ratings, right? Overall college experience. I'll zoom in a little bit. What was your most important goal for coming to the college? Do you feel valued in the classroom? That one needs some work, right? Do you feel like you belong at the college? That one needs some work. But overall, they seem to be pretty satisfied. Now, one thing I was going to show you all tonight is a little bit of lagniappe is when you have large data sets like this, sometimes you got to get around them, right? And remember how when you saved that dashboard, you're supposed to save it to be able to access both worksheets, right? Up here, sheet 1, sheet 2. I hate tabs, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm never going to give my president a spreadsheet. Why would I develop a dashboard that looks and acts like a spreadsheet? Okay, don't. Instead, there's a couple of ways to navigate, and this is one of them. This is one of my favorites. It's a lot less cumbersome than parameters. I love parameters. I think I've shown y'all an example of those before, but these are called navigational buttons. And let's just say you're here at the overall ratings and you want to find out more about employment, just click it. All it does is switch to a new dashboard. Here's our employment information. You want to learn about their ratings of services? There they are. Student financial aid, advising, all that's in one place. I'm working on another one for them right now that actually compares them to their peer group and allows them to basically see where they match up with the median of the peer group. And ignore the tooltips, y'all. I'm not done with this at all. But this one shows completions data, 12-month enrollment, or retention and graduation rates. And a separate dashboard shows them exactly where their peer institutions are located. Okay. Let me show you how to do a quick navigational button because you have two worksheets, right? So first thing you got to do is you got to create a dashboard or two or three, whatever. You have to do it on a dashboard because you can't put navigational buttons on a worksheet. You don't see navigational buttons as an option over here. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create a dashboard with average Pell Grant by institution. And we're gonna create another dashboard with average loans versus average Pell. And just do the scatter plot, right? All right, so two dashboards, 1, 2, right here is navigation on the left, bottom, you see that? Drag it on up to the top. And it just says navigation. You can make it smaller and just say, double click it and click under the title and say, click to view average Pell Grants by year, right? And let's make it purple. Oh, sorry, did one more thing. Navigate to dashboard 1, because that's the one that says average Pell Grants by year. So navigate to dashboard 1, click to view average Pell Grants by year, boom, right? Dashboard 1, same thing. Throw up a little navigation button, double click it, navigate to dashboard 1, 2, and click to view average loans versus average Pell. And we'll make that one that sunflower. Okay. Boom. All right. Now let's hide our sheets because we don't need sheet 1, sheet 2 out here anymore. We can just hide them. And let's save it again. And overwrite our dashboard. It'll just take a sec. There we go. Now we can go into our settings and take off the show sheets. And the sheets are gone, right? But we have this button here, right? Everybody like that? Does that help? So again, think of all the things you might be able to do because I can go back to the analysis and continue to use these buttons to just walk people through whatever we're doing. All right. Questions? Anything? Ask me anything about Tableau dashboards, y'all. These are the two, this is like the weeks that I want you to immerse yourself.
What do you use more, Power BI or Tableau?
I only use
Tableau?
Tableau. I only use Tableau.
You only use it.
It is
Why?
free.
Why?
It is free.
Okay.
One, okay, so Dia, that's a great question. Let me tell you why I only use Tableau. One, it's free for Tableau Public. Two, the nature of my job is not to provide extreme level of detail information to people like you to know if Jody has, you know, a midterm grade of whatever, or that Ken has registered for next semester, right? Or that Kara clicked on the email that you sent when you were marketing, right? Everybody cares about the individual when it comes to business. And Trust me. Totals. But you see what I'm saying? Like the nature of my work is not about the individual. It's about the state. It's about the system. It's about the region. And so, and also individual institutions. And so when you see my individual institutional data, it does get pretty small in terms of numbers, but it's not identifiable, right? Now, I have a lot of faculty who want to see a live kind of dashboard environment that says how many of their students are registered like right now, right? I have a colleague at one of our institutions who has the license for Tableau, and they could easily have the license for Power BI. Power BI only allows you to publish internally, by the way. You can't publicly distribute it like I am right here, right? And so, at least for now, I mean, Microsoft might change, who knows? But for me, not like 90% of the work that I do is for the public domain. It's for my board. It's for our executive team. It's for the leadership of the institutions. It's for the public. And so, and faculty and everybody else. So that allows me to really do this kind of work freely. And I love that about my job. So no, apologies. If you want to learn more about Power BI, I'm sure there's plenty of websites. I gave you, Microsoft cares about access. I'm about to make a joke. It's going to be worth it. As long as it's this access, it was worth it, right? It's worth it. All right. Yeah, no matter Microsoft cares about the bottom line. And I mean, all companies do, but Tableau figured it out that if you want to build a community of users, people who are going to want to do it, at whatever level they need, then you got to provide them with some sort of end. It's just like Facebook and any other social media site, right? How much do we pay for Facebook accounts? We are the product because we don't pay, right? Tableau, I mean, they know I'm using the hell out of their shit, and I don't care. They don't care. I mean, they want me to. In fact, I mean, this is the best advertising they could ask for, is for thousands and thousands and thousands of people to look at this kind of stuff. So, so let's kind of go back then to the topic of the day, right? And really kind of the three really the three setup principles that you're supposed to learn about, right? Last week, I believe it was. We got to visualize the right data, and we have to choose the right visualization to do that, and then make sure that our message is calibrated amongst those. Now, is this an effective way of showing average Pell Grants? Did anybody hit show me and just mess around with it at all? Is that effective?
Yeah, Ty and I were we're in the same room right now. That's why you heard an echo, and why I keep putting my headphones in and taking them back out.
Oh, hey, why didn't you just we could have all been there.
What did you say?
We could have all been there.
I mean, yes.
No,
yes.
we're
we're at the Lola. Quick plug, JK. But yeah, for the most part, I just literally, just was like, okay, well, what will it show me? Which is kind of what I like about Tableau versus using Excel. Is like I have all these options of like, and then I have to remember like what I learned in biology about like, okay, this is the kind of data that you plot along a line. This is the kind of data that you do with scatter plots. And I'm like, oh God. But I don't have to think about that with Tableau. And so that I was just like, okay, what will it show me? Is this stupid? Does it make sense? And that was it. That was my reasoning for all of the things that you will see or have seen.
good. That's what I wanted y'all to think about. So why wouldn't we use a scatter plot here? Is that helpful? Oh, not even sky, I mean, technically it's little circles, but yeah. I mean, if we're gonna do that, we might as well do
But,
that, right?
yeah.
Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
but also a scatter plot is about like multiple variables usually. So not just like looking at like one by one to like a couple of things. If we're looking at like 4 things or more. And like when your variables have like a shared attribute, I guess, I don't know if that's the right word when we're talking about Tableau, because it uses the word attribute in a way that I didn't watch the tutorials to understand better. I watched them, but
Yeah.
things like that like go in one ear and out the other.
Okay. So is this an effective way to show average loans versus average Pell Grants?
Yeah, because it's like 4 pieces of data. Average by average is each two things.
So what do we know here? Anybody ever heard of Point?
I don't know if what I said made sense.
Anybody ever heard of Point University?
Yes.
Where is it, Lee?
If it's not in North Carolina, it's in Georgia.
Oh, it's definitely in Georgia, but do you know where in Georgia?
Oh, no, I don't. I would guess near like going towards Carrollton.
Okay.
Did
So
you say
west.
Herzing?
No, Point.
Point.
It's on the screen. Sorry. I'm just wondering because they've got a higher average Pell Grant than the annual maximum. Data quality issue, right? Maybe, or they have summer Pell again, so maybe that's why they're higher. Maybe a lot of students are getting summer Pell. Let's talk about tooltips. So tooltips, if did anybody play around with tooltips? West Point, there you go. Thank you, Dia. All right, tooltips are what show up when you hover over something, or you can make it to where you have to, essentially click on them, right? Kind of situation. Either way it goes. I tend to make them responsive. All right. So here's the thing. A tooltip can be as much or as little as you want. I actually have a colleague of mine who asked me to put narrative in the tooltip. And I was like catching my breath for a second. So I was like, damn, I don't want to write a whole paragraph in a tooltip, right? Yeah, I mean, this is something literally you hover over just to find out the specifics typically, like, okay, average Pell, average loans, right? But they were like, yeah, I'd rather see like a sentence or something that I can explain to somebody in a meeting. I said, okay, we can, we'll figure that out. But they're really easy to edit. Essentially, any variable that's included here automatically gets populated in the tooltip. And if you want to bring in anything else, then you just have to bring it to the tooltip card. So let's get, latitude, right? Let's just say we want to put latitude in the tooltip. Well, notice we put it in and there it is. It's already showing up. It's not very meaningful to see, but that's okay. It's pretty simple to edit them though, right? If we don't want to put institution name in the tooltip, we can just take it out, just delete it. We can do a parentheses, delete out the sector label, sector name, whatever it is, and just put the sector in parentheses. And now you know ABAC is a public 4-year. Do you see that? Isn't that easier to read than institution, sector, blah, blah, blah. It just looks a little bit more nice. We're going to take out latitude. I was just joking about that. And then we can keep average Pell Grant, average loans, right? If you wanted to, that's pretty straightforward. Hit OK. Now, one thing I will also tell you is notice they're all whole numbers. What if we want to make them actual currency? All you have to do is right click. We call these pills, by the way. Don't ask me why. They look like very difficult to swallow pills. But right click and hit format. And under the pane, change it to currency and see how it went 6564.40. If we do custom, take off the 2 digits, and there you go. You got a whole number. All you have to do is click the other pill and notice how it says average Pell Grant here, right? See that? Click on each one. As long as you got the format menu open, it's gonna format whatever you click on. Change that back to currency, custom, and hit OK. Boom, there you go. Now they're both in currency format. All right, so quick tool tip, right? Kind of nice. Let me show you something else. Tableau recognizes certain data fields as a type of data. And what I mean by that is if this data file had the word state in it as a field, like state, Georgia, right? Tableau would recognize that when we brought in our data, and I shit you not, it would know that Georgia is a state. It would have a little globe, just like we have globes here. Do you see the globes on latitude and longitude? It's really small. Do y'all see them? Okay. It knows that that is a geographic role of latitude. We never told Tableau latitude is latitude. We never told Tableau, remember, because I brought this data file in right before class started. I promise we didn't change anything. It's latitude and longitude. So anybody know how to map Tableau data? All you do is bring it in to the map. Oops, longitude's always on top, latitude's on bottom, sorry. And as soon as you do that, it creates the map. Now, it has no details here, right? So it's literally averaging or summing whatever, all the latitude and longitude. So if we want to show it by institution, all you have to do is bring it in by detail. There's our institutions. And what if we wanted to color code it by average Pell Grant? And I don't want it to go dark to light. I mean, we can increase the size of the dots a little bit, make it easier to see. That's still hard to see, right? Bring it back down, hit the color. I'd rather see custom diverging. So these are the color schemes. Go down to custom diverging, and that puts 2 opposite color schemes up here. And we're gonna go light gray on one end and our purple color on the other end. And we're gonna do steps. Nah, we'll just keep it like that. That's a little hard to see. So instead, let's try, sorry, I'm winging this. It looks like there's only a couple of colleges that are pretty low there. Let's make it that sunflower color, right? That Lee was telling us about. Still, anyway, all right. You get the drift, right? You get the drift. So we can color code it. I would find a way to color coding it a little bit easier. But there it is. So now what I want to do is filter for institution. Okay. And over here, I want to, which one were we messing with? It was this one. So under dashboard 2, right? This is the tooltip that we're messing with. So I want to also apply that year filter to sheet 2 and sheet 3. You're going to understand why in just a second. And I also want to filter by institution, but we're not going to actually filter for any institutions. I want to apply that to sheet 2 and sheet 3. Now, I just did a lot, right? I created, okay, so here's our year, right? 2019-20. There's Point University, Lee, Dia, sorry, yeah, Dia, you said West Point. That looks like a pretty western point, right? Of Georgia. So yeah, this is sorry, I just saw the comments. This is how you make a map. It's a lot easier than you might think. Now, what I want you to do or think about doing is that map is great, but I don't want to create another dashboard or another worksheet. So I'm going to put the map. I'm going to put the map in my tooltip. What did I just say out loud? Did that compute with y'all? I'm going to put the map in the tooltip. Okay, ready? Now you know where every institution is just by hovering. There's West Point. You can do this with bar charts. You can do this with line charts. You can do it with anything. Any sheet you can create, you can put it in the tooltip. So that way, if someone's like, oh, Dia, where's Point University? Dia just says, hover. Does that make sense, y'all?
Yeah.
Okay. This is not basic.
West Point, Georgia.
Yeah, there it is. Look.
Located nowhere. Located on the border of Alabama and Georgia. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to actual human beings. It's robot stuff.
Robot stuff. Okay. I consulted with Columbus State. I'm trying to find them. They're in here somewhere. But they're over there by Auburn, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah. Anyway, so cool stuff though, right? Look at that. It isolates just that institution. And what if, I'm just going to go all out here. What if I want to show the trend for Pell Grants in the tooltip? Why do we even need two dashboards? Does this make sense, y'all? Is this helping? Okay. Now, I want y'all to, oh, yeah, we're almost out of time. Sorry, I just realized that. 10 minutes or so. All right, let's talk about the apply. Let's talk about the apply. I'm gonna put this back out there and then let y'all have fun with it. Okay. Let's talk about the apply, because that was a little bit more choose your own adventure. How did y'all approach this?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, how did y'all approach the apply?
Very
I
carefully.
honestly just went to go look at the Tableau videos, but that confused me even more because they went to like detail. So
Sabe, was there anything more? Sorry, kind of cut out a little bit. Okay, you're good. Okay. I walked you through a little bit here where I said filters, apply to worksheets, selected worksheets. That is how filters can affect multiple worksheets. Did y'all figure that out? Okay. So that was, go ahead, Simon.
no, I just went straight to like setting up my sheets first and then doing the dashboard. You know, and I just used the show me to kind of figure out the graphs per each sheet. I kind of did the long way, which got me even more confused. So I'll just watch and see how you kind of do the dashboard.
Oh, I'm not doing this one.
I
Oh,
started
my bad.
out by doing the exact same thing. And when I couldn't get it to show me anything that I thought made sense, that's when I elicited help to at least understand what I was even looking at. Because I thought I could just like look at it and kind of understand what I was looking at. But when I realized that it was mostly like sources of data and like how they are categorized by year, by across these different categories and indicators, and like I talked to another human person about what the data set was, then it made a little bit more sense. But I did play with it first and like see what would Tableau just show me. Like, thankfully it has that function. But after doing that, then I was like, okay, well then what am I just interested in? So I knew that I wanted to look at either median household income or life expectancy or just any indicator that was like relevant to like my life. And so I settled on diabetes. So there wasn't, I don't even know what it was. But for what I wanted to visualize, there wasn't enough data for median household income or for life expectancy. So I ended up just playing with diabetes and then things that I, have like learned may contribute to diabetes in the population, such as like teenage or childhood obesity and stuff like that. So I ended up just looking at connected indicators across gender, race, or cities where diabetes is prevalent.
Very cool. Can't wait to see it. Do you want to share it?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me find. Try what I want. Sign me out again. Oh, I'm actually signed in. Okay, it's saved as Parker the assignment with Park. Gonna share. Oh wait, should I share it from like? Yeah, okay. Never mind. I answered my own question. I'll switch. Okay, so this is ugly now that I'm thinking. Anyway, but so right now what we're looking at is the last sheet, not all the sheets at once. And we're looking at the top 3 cities for diabetes, which is being Cleveland, Detroit, and San Jose. And then some of the different variables with race and ethnicity and sex, kind of where they end up. It's not beautiful or anything, but at least it was semi-interesting, like made some sense. So if we look at things that can contribute to diabetes, like adults who are obese,
Hey, Dia, do you mind telling us how you did the highlight indicator?
you want me to walk through that?
Sure.
Oh no. Okay, hold on.
You don't have to do it. Just tell us real quick.
Oh, okay, but I don't remember.
Okay.
I think, what did I do?
It looks like indicator is a filter. Did you assign it as a highlight?
Yes. So the 3 indicators that are but the 3 indicators that I ended up choosing, or the few indicators. I don't know what I edited. So I don't know how to click on the thing. So diabetes, and then things related to diabetes.
Okay.
Also the diabetes, blah blah blah.
So you're filtering for those, but you're only showing those in the highlight what you want to filter for.
Right. So I thought that would be like, make it more relevant.
All right,
Someone cares about
X out
diabetes mortality.
No, X out the diabetes for me. Okay.
And so,
Got it.
it's good.
Cool.
It's not as sexy as I thought it was going to be, but
Oh. Do you want me to show you another way of doing this?
the data don't always.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to show you another way of doing that? There's a different, I
Oh,
mean,
really?
I like
Different.
highlight, but also just to show everybody, if you, let's just say, you know, you've got, gosh, we don't really have any options in this data set. But what you can do is, let's just say we had 5 sectors, right? We have 2, but what if we had 5, right? Then if we only wanted to show public 4-year and private 4-year, or versus public 2-year, public, you know, private 2-year, all that kind of stuff, you create a set, and that set is limited to what you want to show. And so it creates this. And so when you bring in this set, it only shows, show set, yeah. Yep. So now it's just the public 4-year, right? And remember the color code here is is the average amount, not the sector. Now it's the sector, it only shows public 4-year. So you bring the sector set into the filter, filtering only for certain groups. And when you want to bring the actual sector filter out, you would only see the one that you chose in the set. Does that make sense? So if we had public 4-year, public 2-year, private 4-year, private 2-year, this would only show public 4-year and private 4-year, right? Because in the set, we said only show these values. So it's a way of highlighting without the highlight, right? It only shows people what you want to show them. And so it's a way for you to minimize all those other indicators, get rid of anything you don't want, and only show the indicators that you do want. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, cool. Thank you, Dia. So y'all, we are at time. I mentioned last week, I'm sorry,